Hello, today I want to talk to you about how to study for a research and evidence-based nursing course, which is often taken when you are doing a bachelor's degree for registered nursing. And the reason I'm talking about this today is because I have a VIP tutoring membership group, and one of my VIP members is currently taking this class, and she had some questions about how to study for this course, and specifically how to apply the Silver Bullet study system, which is the easy 4-step method that I teach to study all nursing material. How can that apply to this research course? So I had her send me a copy of her syllabus so that I could give her some personalized information. It's just something I do for my members, my VIP members. And I wanted to do a quick video today just to give you an example of how you should be approaching the information in your research and evidence-based nursing courses. So if you don't know me already, my name is Nicole Whitworth. I am the founder of Your Nursing Tutor, and I run a VIP tutoring membership, which provides support for students, nursing students who want to study efficiently so you can have more time for yourself and make sure that you're learning the most important information so that you can train your brain to think like a nurse and reach your dream of becoming a nurse. So the thing is, with the Silver Bullet study system, there's 4 steps. And the first step I call the foundational 15. That's where you take whatever the basic foundational information for your topic, and this is all the normal stuff. So in a lot of our other nursing courses, this is going to be like your anatomy and physiology, your microbiology, developmental things. It kind of depends on which topic as to what your foundational information is. These are the things that most nursing students tend to skip studying because you think you don't have time, but it's actually the reason why nursing school gets harder instead of easier for you. So it's so important to study this stuff because it builds a solid foundation for the more complex information that you learn later on in the course and later on in nursing school. So when we're studying research nursing class, for a research nursing class, we want to identify what is the most important foundational information for that. And so just using my students' syllabus here, she has, let's see, I was gonna skip, it's just in her like unit 1. I'm just looking at the objectives that her teacher put. And so like the first objective is describe the characteristics of evidence-based practice within the nursing process. So you look at that and you say, well, what do you need to know in order to be able to do that? You need to be able to know what's the nursing process, which you probably already know. So that's great. You can just rattle it off and that's the first thing you've studied. That's not too easy. That's perfect. It's what you should be doing because you need to be learning how to tie this information together so that you can critically think about it. And then what are the characteristics of evidence-based practice? And that's where you refer to your textbook if you don't already know, and you specifically look for that information. Now, the second objective is compare and contrast theory, nursing research, and evidence-based practice. Now, before you can compare and contrast, you have to know what it is and identify those 3 things. And so that's going to be, those 3 things are going to be another piece of the foundational 15 that you're going to study and be like, if I need to define theory, nursing research, and evidence-based practice in one sentence, what would it be? And put it in your own words and understand what it means. Actually, ask yourself why if you don't know. Let's see, I'm just going to skip through and find some other examples. Some other really good examples. And another, let's see, and one of the other topics is ethics in research on her syllabus. And she talks about, or one of the objectives is discuss the primary ethical principles governing research included in the Belmont report. So the foundational information for this section of the course is going to be, what is the Belmont report? What does it include concerning ethics, right? And you're going to want to know what are those ethical principles. So in the foundational 15, we do a lot of, we do some memorization, okay? And those are the things, because you have to have those foundational building blocks memorized so that when we move on to the critical thinking part, we're not trying to remember something we barely remember and manipulate it. We want to have it solidly memorized so that we can manipulate it and dig into it and understand more things about it and connect different building blocks, okay? But it all starts in the foundational 15 where you're building those memorized building blocks. Another objective for the ethics part is to evaluate the use of primary ethical principles within the context of a research study. So even there, you have to have memorized what are the ethical principles first before you can move on to apply them to a research study. And then evaluate the role of a nurse in relation to ethical conduct and research. So these three objectives in particular go really well with the silver bullet study system, because the first step, we'll use this as an example, a full example then. The first step is the foundational 15, where you're like, what is the Belmont Report? And what are the major ethical principles that govern research that was in the Belmont Report? And you have to know what they are, and you have to know what they mean, okay? Now, step 2 of the silver bullet study system is called the Humpty Dumpty factor, because normally we talk about what broke, okay? Now, in this particular topic, we can kind of skip over that a little bit because nothing broke. We're talking about a topic that is normal, basically. We're just doing theory. This is a lot of foundational stuff. This isn't med surg, you know, this is normal. So we don't really have to do a step 2 with the Humpty Dumpty factor. So then we move on to step 3, which is normally called crystal ball predictions. And it's where we are predicting symptoms that we'll see, or basically predicting what's going to happen in step 3 based on what we learned in step 1, what's normal, and in step 2, what's broken. However, there's nothing broken here. So what are we predicting? Well, we're going to be predicting how would we use this information? Why is it important? You know, in these objectives, it's asking you things like, you know, how do you apply these ethical principles to a research study? As a nurse, how do you use them? You know, so you might think, you start thinking about, you start predicting in step 3, how would I apply these? How do I see them in everyday life? Like you start thinking of real world uses for them and asking yourself why. A lot of times you ask yourself why, and that's going to be step 3, because that's going to give you some questions. Why do we need this particular ethical principle? What would happen if it went wrong? So that, in that sense, that's your Humpty Dumpty, number 2, what broke. Like, if this ethical principle wasn't followed, what would happen? Okay, and so that when you see things in like case studies and scenarios and test questions, then you start to recognize, oh wait, this ethical principle isn't being followed because I see what's happening here, okay? And then step 4 is usually what I call finally nursing care. It's when we actually start using our nursing interventions and things like that to using the information that we've already accumulated in steps 1, 2, and 3. Now for the research course, you know, it says like we want to evaluate the role of the nurse in relation to ethical conduct in research. So we think about what's a nurse's role in research and how would a nurse apply that in a research setting? So if a nurse is conducting a research study or, you know, helping facilitate a research study, what sorts of things will the nurse be doing to make sure that the ethical principles are being followed and enforced? You know, things like informed consent. You know, what sorts of things does the nurse have to do in order to make sure that the ethical principles are being followed? So that's just a quick example of how you can apply the silver bullet study system even to a topic like research and evidence-based nursing course for a BSN degree. If you like getting help in nursing school, if you like having time for yourself, if you like studying efficiently and feeling confident about what you're studying and knowing that it's the most important information and knowing that you are studying in a way that is training your brain to think like a nurse, all while saving time, then I encourage you to check out my VIP tutoring program too. I'd love to get to know you and support you. We offer live tutoring sessions on a regular basis. Plus you get access to all of my online courses that help with things like the silver bullet study system, as well as studying pharmacology, test anxiety, dosage calculations, whatever you need, I'm here to support you. And you can find information about that at yournursingtutor.com/VIP. Otherwise, until next time, good luck in nursing school.